There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize that the world outside is not the true obstacle. The real battlefield is within. And if you dare to change what happens inside you, your entire life can bend, shift, and transform with astonishing speed. For the next few minutes, I want you to entertain an extraordinary possibility that for just 3 days, if you choose to speak to yourself differently, if you decide to direct the inner conversations that shape your being, you could witness a transformation so undeniable that you'll never again doubt your own power. Not someday, not after years of effort, 3 days, 72 hours of disciplined inner speech. That is all it takes to awaken a version of you that has been waiting quietly beneath years of self-doubt, fear, and conditioned limitations. Because the truth is startlingly simple, your life is only echoing what you repeatedly whisper to yourself in secret. And yet most people spend their entire existence arguing for their limitations, rehearsing old pains, replaying what went wrong, and speaking words inside their mind that no longer belong to the future they desire. They want success, but talk like failures. They want love, but speak like the unloved. They want abundance, but sound like the deprived. And without realizing it, their inner conversations mold the outer events of their lives with absolute precision. So imagine for just a moment what would happen if you took control of that hidden voice, the voice that narrates your days, judges your possibilities, and silently accepts or rejects the life you wish for. Imagine if for 3 days you refused to think of yourself as the person you have been and instead spoke as the person you intend to become. Imagine if you treated every inner sentence like a seed, knowing it must grow into something real. For 3 days you speak from your desire, not from your doubt, from your capability, not your fear, from your faith, not your history. In only 72 hours of disciplined inner speech, you could begin a shift that many spend years trying to achieve. Your mind has always been powerful enough to reshape your world, but most people use that power unconsciously, allowing old narratives to run automatically. The moment you become conscious of your inner talk, you step into the role of the creator. And that is precisely what this 3-day challenge demands. Awareness first, direction second, embodiment third. For the next 3 days, your task is not to look for signs or struggle or force anything into existence. Your task is to talk to yourself as if you already are who you desire to be. Talk to yourself as if the life you want is already yours. Talk to yourself like the future is already unfolding in your favor. This challenge is not about magic words. It's about aligning your identity with your intention. Every sentence you speak within becomes the mold from which reality shapes itself. When you understand this, you will stop allowing your fears to dictate your tone. You will stop giving past failures authority over your present, and you will begin to speak with the quiet confidence of someone who knows that their inner world precedes their outer life. For the next 3 days, every time you catch yourself slipping into the old story, gently but firmly redirect yourself. This is who I am now. This is what I choose. This is the reality I accept. Speak as if you are already living the life you desire. Because when you speak like the new version of yourself, soon the world will have no choice but to respond to you as that new being. 72 hours, 3 days, a new inner language. That is all it takes to begin a transformation that will feel miraculous. Yet it is the most natural thing in the world. The most overlooked truth in human experience is that your destiny is shaped not by circumstances, but by the dialogue you hold with yourself every day. Long before events unfold in the physical world, they are born in the unseen chamber of your inner speech. Every persistent thought, every repeated assumption, every silent sentence spoken in the privacy of your mind is a creative act. People struggle endlessly with their outer conditions, never realizing that the true architect of their life has always been their inner conversation. Change the conversation, and the entire structure of your reality must rearrange itself to match the new pattern. Your inner talk is the purest expression of what you believe about yourself. You might declare ambitious goals, visualize success, write affirmations, and chase opportunities. But if your inner speech contradicts your desire, the outer world will mirror that contradiction. You cannot speak defeat inside and expect victory outside. You cannot talk to yourself like the broken version of you and expect life to treat you as whole. You cannot recount your problems repeatedly and expect solutions to blossom. The outer world obeys the world within, and it always has. Most people are unaware of the silent monologue running through their being. They walk through life carrying a voice shaped by childhood experiences, societal expectations, failures, fears, and memories of disappointment. This voice becomes the narrator of their identity, and without questioning it, they allow that narrator to define the limits of their possibility. But the moment you become conscious of this voice, you gain the power to redirect it. And when you redirect it, you redirect your entire destiny. Think of your inner talk as the blueprint from which your reality is constructed. When you repeatedly tell yourself, "I never get what I want, things never work out for me, I'm always struggling," or "I'm not good enough," you are issuing commands to your subconscious mind. And the subconscious, without judgment, faithfully produces whatever it is instructed to accept as true. It does not analyze, it does not question, it merely creates. So if your inner speech is filled with doubt, limitation, and fear, the outcomes in your life will reflect those exact qualities. But here is the liberating truth. You can rewrite this script at any moment. You can choose new inner sentences. You can assume new truths. You can speak to yourself in a way that honors the life you want, not the life you fear. And when you do, everything begins to change. When your inner world becomes aligned with confidence, worthiness, and possibility, the outer world begins opening doors that once appeared locked. Your inner speech reveals your identity, and identity determines destiny. A person who speaks as a winner becomes won. A person who speaks as love becomes loved. A person who speaks as abundant becomes abundant. Not because of luck or chance, but because inner speech shapes beliefs. Beliefs shape actions, actions shape outcomes, and outcomes shape the story of your life. Every transformation begins with a sentence you choose to accept. So when you begin this 3-day challenge, remember this truth. Your destiny listens to your self-talk more closely than you do. What you whisper within becomes what you experience without. If you guide your inner speech, your life will follow. If you elevate your inner identity, your destiny will rise to meet it. This is not philosophy. It is the law by which your life has always operated. For the next 3 days, you are going to speak to yourself in a way that may feel unusual at first, but profoundly natural once you accept it as your new identity. This is not positive thinking. This is not forced optimism. This is identity creation through inner conversation. The secret is astonishingly simple. Talk to yourself as the version of you who already has what you desire. Not as someone who is trying, hoping, waiting, or wishing, but as someone who is, someone who has become, someone who already embodies the end result. These inner sentences are not affirmations you recite mechanically. They are the voice of your new self speaking from completion. The formula begins with a single powerful shift. You must speak in the present tense, as if the desire is already fulfilled. Every time your mind wanders back to old doubts, gently and calmly steer it back into the assumption of fulfillment. Speak inwardly like this: I am so deeply grateful that my life is unfolding exactly as I desire, or everything aligns perfectly for me, or I am living the reality I once dreamed about. These sentences are not fantasies. They are identity statements, and identity statements have creative power. The next part of the formula is emotional alignment. Do not just speak the words, feel the truth of them, experience them. Even if the outer world appears unchanged, the inner world must become alive with the feeling of already having what you desire. When you feel the truth of your inner speech, your subconscious mind accepts it without resistance. And once the subconscious accepts it, your reality must reorganize itself to reflect that acceptance. Another crucial element is consistency. You are not allowed to slip into the old story for these 3 days. If the old voice of doubt tries to whisper, you simply override it. That is not who I am anymore. You don't argue with the old story. You don't resist it. You simply replace it. You choose the new identity over and over until it becomes automatic. This is the discipline of deliberate creation, and it is only 3 days, not a lifetime, not a year, not even a month. 3 days of controlled inner speech can break years of mental conditioning. The formula also includes a powerful technique, inner conversations with your future self. Speak inwardly as the version of you who has already succeeded. Let that version of you congratulate you, reassure you, guide you. Let that future self voice say things like, "You did it. You stayed consistent. Your results are unfolding right now." These conversations imprint the subconscious with the assumption that the transformation is already complete. Another key part of the formula is to speak from the end, never from the process. Don't say, "I'm getting better." Say, "I am already the person I once hoped to become." Don't say, "Things will improve." Say, "Things have already shifted in my favor." The subconscious mind responds only to the finished state. Speak that state into existence through inner conversation. And finally, the formula ends with non-reactivity. When you speak to yourself as the fulfilled version of you, resist the urge to check the outside world for confirmation. Your job is not to monitor the outer. Your job is to maintain the inner. The outer must eventually conform, but the moment you look for proof, you return to the identity of someone who does not yet have it. For the next 3 days, your inner speech is your proof. Your inner language is your certainty. Your inner identity is your reality. This is the secret formula. Simple, powerful, and life-altering. For 3 days, you are going to speak to yourself like someone whose desires are already facts. And when you do, the world will begin to shift in ways that feel almost miraculous. Now the challenge begins. 3 days that will not simply change your thinking, but transform your identity. This challenge is divided into 3 stages, one for each day, each designed to deepen your connection with your new inner voice. Day 1 is awareness. On this day, your only task is to observe your inner talk. Pay attention to every moment your mind drifts into old stories. Notice how often you speak to yourself in ways that contradict the life you want. You may be surprised by how quickly the mind defaults to fear, doubt, lack, or unworthiness. Do not judge yourself. Do not become frustrated. Simply become aware. Awareness is the first step toward transformation. On day 1, every time you catch yourself thinking from the old identity, quietly acknowledge it. This is the old me. No resistance, no guilt, just recognition. Because the moment you see the old story clearly, you weaken its power. Day 2 is replacement. Now that you are aware of your inner talk, today you begin replacing every old sentence with one aligned with your desire. If the old voice says, "This never works for me," replace it with, "Everything always works out in my favor." If the old voice says, "I am not enough," replace it with, "I am worthy of everything I desire." If the old voice fears failure, replace it with, "Success is my natural state." This stage requires conscious effort. You are rewiring your inner world. You are teaching your subconscious a new language. Today, you speak deliberately. You override the old identity every single time it appears. Today, you create new mental pathways that align with your desired self. Day 3 is embodiment. This is the most powerful stage. On this day, you no longer treat your inner talk as a technique. You treat it as your truth. You speak as the person who has already stepped into the end result. You wake up and immediately think from the identity of your fulfilled desire. You walk, breathe, and carry yourself as one whose reality is already transformed. You speak inwardly with confidence, calmness, and a quiet sense of inevitability. You don't try to feel different, you simply are different. This is the day you embody the feeling of completion. This is the day your subconscious fully accepts your new identity. During this challenge, you must remember one essential rule. Do not contradict your new inner talk with self-doubt or fear. If doubt arises, and will, simply dismiss it as the old version of you attempting to regain control. You owe that old identity nothing. You are stepping into a higher version of yourself, and your inner conversation is the bridge that leads you there. For these 3 days, your inner talk must remain unwavering. You are building a new self-image, and the language you use will reinforce it. When you speak as the fulfilled version of yourself, you signal to your subconscious that the transformation is complete. And once it accepts that signal, your outer world will begin shifting to match. By the end of these 3 days, something inside you will feel different, stronger, clearer, more grounded. You will feel as though a new self has awakened. This is not imagination, this is identity realignment. And once you embody this new inner voice, the outer world will have no choice but to reflect the change. When you commit to transforming your inner talk for just 72 hours, you awaken a shift that touches every part of your being. It does not take months, nor does it require monumental effort. The moment you change the voice within, the world around you begins to reorganize itself in subtle, powerful ways. You will feel it, not someday, but within days, sometimes within hours. One of the first things you'll notice is an unexpected calmness. The storm of doubt that once lived inside you begins to quiet. The internal tension that you carried for years suddenly eases, and you feel a sense of stability that you may not have experienced in a long time. This calmness is not forced. It is the natural state of someone whose mind is finally aligned with their desire instead of fighting against it. When your inner world is harmonious, your outer world begins to mirror that harmony. Another powerful change you will experience is increased confidence. Not through ego or arrogance, but through a deep inner knowing. When your inner talk consistently affirms who you've become, you feel anchored in your identity. You no longer look to the outside world for validation, because you carry a quiet assurance within you. You begin acting from the identity you've assumed, and this shift in behavior creates opportunities that once seemed out of reach. During these 3 days, you will also notice synchronicities and subtle signs. Small but meaningful reflections that your inner shift is already influencing your outer life. Someone may say something encouraging out of nowhere. A door that had been closed opens slightly. You may find solutions to problems that once felt impossible. This is not coincidence, this is alignment. When your inner talk changes, your energy changes, and the world responds to the frequency you emit. You may even feel emotional clarity. Situations that once overwhelmed you suddenly feel manageable. Decisions that seemed confusing become simple. You begin to see your life from a higher perspective, no longer trapped in the maze of old fears. Your mind feels lighter because it is no longer burdened by a narrative that contradicts your desires. This clarity allows you to move through your days with purpose and serenity. Perhaps the most profound shift will be the sense of inner empowerment that begins to rise within you. You realize that you are not a victim of circumstances, you are the creator of your experiences. You begin to understand that the power you once searched for outside was always within you, hidden in the quiet whispers of your inner dialogue. This realization alone is enough to change the trajectory of your entire life. And then comes the most beautiful part. Unexpected opportunities begin to appear, not through force, but through alignment. Life meets you at the level of your new identity. People respond differently. New paths reveal themselves. Obstacles dissolve. You begin to feel supported by the universe itself. When your inner talk says, "I am worthy," the world begins treating you as worthy. When your inner talk says, "Everything works out for me," circumstances rearrange themselves to confirm it. 72 hours may seem like a short period of time, but when you change the architect of your reality, your inner speech, your life begins responding immediately. You are rewriting the script of your destiny, and life must follow the new direction. These changes may start small, but they grow rapidly. Just as a seed becomes a tree, your new inner identity becomes a new outer reality. By the end of these 3 days, you will not only feel the shift, you will know it. Something inside you will click, and you will realize that you are no longer the person you were before. You have stepped into a new level of consciousness, and from this level, creation becomes effortless. This is the power of self-talk aligned with desire. This is the beginning of a life shaped not by chance, but by intention. Now that you understand the power of your inner talk and the transformation that awaits within 3 days, it is time to step into the truth that has always been waiting for you. Your new life begins in your inner world long before it appears in the outer world. Everything you desire, every dream, every outcome, every shift must first be accepted internally. Your inner talk is the foundation, the blueprint, the spark from which your future is constructed. As you complete this journey, remember this: the world does not change first. You change first. And when you change, the world mirrors that change with unwavering accuracy. Every conversation you have with yourself is a creative act. Every sentence you speak internally becomes a command to the subconscious. Every assumption you accept becomes an instruction that the universe must fulfill. You are not hoping for transformation, you are authoring it. The new you is not something you wait for, it is something you speak into existence. When you talk to yourself as the fulfilled version of your desire, you shift into the identity that matches that reality. And once identity changes, destiny follows. The power has always been in your hands, but now you have the clarity and the method to use it deliberately. As you move forward, carry this truth with you. You are constantly creating, whether consciously or unconsciously. When you guide your inner talk, you take control of your creation. You no longer speak from fear, limitation, or past wounds. You speak from certainty, from fulfillment, from the end result already achieved. And the more you speak from the end, the more the end becomes inevitable. Do not underestimate the simplicity of this practice. The mind loves complexity, but creation is simple. Speak as the person you want to be, and soon you will feel like that person. Feel like that person long enough, and soon you will behave like that person. Behave like that person consistently, and soon the world will reflect that person back to you in countless ways. Your inner talk is the key to unlocking the life you desire. It is the silent force shaping your relationships, your opportunities, your finances, your confidence, and your future. When you consciously choose a new inner language, you rewrite the story of your life. You no longer live as the character shaped by circumstance. You become the author shaping circumstance itself. And when doubt tries to return, and it will, remind yourself gently but firmly, I no longer speak the language of my old limitations. You have outgrown that version of yourself. You have stepped into a higher identity, one aligned with your desires, not your fears. You're building a new inner reality brick by brick, thought by thought, word by word. And soon the outer world will have no choice but to mirror that new construction. The new you is not coming. It is already here. It exists within every sentence you speak to yourself. It lives in the tone of your inner voice. It breathes in the assumptions you choose to accept. Nurture that new identity, speak to it, strengthen it, honor it, for it is the seed of everything you are becoming. 3 days of disciplined inner talk can awaken a transformation that lasts a lifetime. The power is not in the world, it is in you. Always has been, always will be. And when you choose to speak like the creator you are, life responds in ways that feel extraordinary, inevitable, and deeply aligned. This is the beginning of your new reality. And it all begins with the words you whisper within.